Hello, everyone. Okay, so I know that we had to break the discussion section without completing the fourth question. So, just to explain it better, I thought I'll just post a video of it so you guys can go through it. And it should be real quick. It shouldn't take me more than 15 minutes to go through the entirety of this. But I just felt like working through an example which is similar to the one in the problem set would really help you guys get going. So, let's say that. I'm going to Ralph's to do grocery shopping, right? And I want to buy two items. One is my most favorite Ben and Jerry chocolate therapy ice cream, and I want to buy 10 of those, right? And the other is the Doritos, the nacho cheese flavor in it, and I want to buy three of those. So this is my first item, and this is my second item, right? Now, whenever you have lists or tuples in Python, think of them as containers, right? So my item one is actually a container in which the element at the zeroth index is the item name, and the element at the 1th index is the amount of that item. Similarly for item two, right? So now these are the two items I want, and now I have two carts with me, right? So let me go back and say that, oh, you know what, let me put these two items in two separate carts, right? So now my first cart is the unorganized cart where I just say, you know what, just take these two things and put them together, right? I just dump them in one. And so when you do list concatenation, right, with the plus operator, what it does is it makes everything which is part of the first list and the second list, it puts it into one list. So this is the mental image which you should have, right? Item, so here this is my item and this is the number of that items I have. This is again an item and the number of that item. So cart underscore unorganized is basically item underscore one common number of those items, and item underscore school item underscore two and number of those items. So now I say that, you know what, there might be a better way of doing this. So let me make an organized cart where I put where item one and item two in a list. So basically your mental image right now should be them taking the container. I'm taking the two containers and I'm putting them in another container, right? So this is what I want you to have. In your mind, this is the mental image which you should have, right? And so container one is basically my item one and the number of those items, and container two is basically the name of that item and the number of those items I have, right? So now let's just go ahead and print these things and see what happens, and let's understand what's the difference exactly, right? So you see cart underscore unorganized is basically everything over here, and cart underscore unorganized, can you see this extra bracket over here surrounding Ben and Jerry and 10? This is extremely important to understand. So this is basically the container or the list. The list is acting like a container over here for us. So now a good way to understand, okay, so what is this container business? Let's just, or to understand what the difference is, let's print this element at the zeroth index in both of them, right? So here I'm just printing the zeroth index at cart underscore unorganized and the zeroth index at cart organized. Now let's run this. So if you look at this output over here, it says the zeroth element in cart underscore unorganized is just Ben and Jerry chocolate therapy ice cream. But the zeroth index at cart underscore organized is the list which contains inside it Ben and Jerry chocolate therapy ice cream at the zeroth index and 10 at the 1th index. I hope this makes it clear that what's happening over here. And I've just added an extra print statement, an empty print statement, so that we have an extra line over here. I'll show you why I did that. So now the next thing we want to do is that I just realized that one of my New Year's resolution was to stop being a glut, and I should reduce the number of ice cream I'm buying drastically, right? 10 is a lot for anybody. So I say that, you know what, I want to reduce the amount of ice cream from both the lists, right? So if you look at the first list over here, cart underscore organized, the number of ice creams which I'm buying is at index 1, right? But if you look at cart underscore organized, the number of ice creams which I'm buying, the way I index it is, I go inside the, I say, hey, first, let me, so my ice cream is in the zero, is in the zeroth container, right? Is at the container, the zeroth index. So that's why I put zero over here first, over here, as you can see. And then I say, okay, so now that I'm inside this list, right, I want to access the element at the 1th index. So that's what I put second over here after zero, right over here, right over here. So basically I say, okay, you know what, I'm going to reduce my number of ice creams by 7. So this is what I do in these two lines. And then once again, I just go ahead and print my list. So let's run this. So now you can see that my cart underscore unorganized and my cart underscore organized, in both of them, the number of items have reduced by 7, right? Okay, so this is great. I'm like, okay, I feel healthy now. But you know what? This is not enough. This just means that I'm less unhealthy. I want to be completely healthy. So now I decide that, you know what? Ice cream is really bad for me and I should probably stop eating it altogether. So what I want to do is I want to remove the ice cream from both the lists. So basically we need to delete elements from a list. Now for the first list, which is cart underscore unorganized, which is right here, I want to delete the items at the 0th index and the 1th index, right? So I will go ahead and say something like, hey Python, delete, that's what the del keyword stands for, delete cart underscore unorganized, but not the whole thing, just elements from 0 to 2. So why do I say 2 over here and why not 1? Because you must have seen this pattern repeating a lot in Python. The last thing we mention, the index is always not there, right? So it'll basically go from 0 to 1. So if you say 2, it'll basically stop 1 before 2. So it'll remove this 0 and 1. So I'm basically deleting a slice. That's what you have to understand. I'm deleting a slice of information from my list. And when it comes to deleting the ice cream thing from cart underscore organized, so you can see this whole thing is just part of a single container for me, which is at the 0th index. This entire is, I just have to delete this entire list, which is at the 0th index. So that's what I do in this line over here, where I say, hey Python, delete cart underscore organize, but only the element at the 0th index, right? That's it. So now let's run this. Boom. Okay, so now ice cream is gone from both of them, and I just have Doritos left with me. I'm like, okay, this looks good, right? Like I've eliminated ice cream completely, but now let me go an extra step. Let me go an extra step. I feel super happy of being so resilient, and let me add a healthy snack, right? So now I want to add another item to my cart, which is banana, right? I want to buy banana and I want to buy 10 of those. So now the way I would add this to my cart underscore unorganized is just do list concatenation, right? And I would again assign it to cart underscore unorganized. This is very important. See how we are doing the operation on the right and then telling it where to store the result of this operation on the left. So we are overwriting what was stored in cart underscore unorganized, right? And the way I would go ahead and add this item to my cart underscore organized is that I would use the append keyword and not something like the plus. Why? I will let you think about that for a bit. But in short, what append does is it just takes this item, whatever you give it, and adds it at the end of the list as another object, right? So now that we've added a new item to our list, let's print them out. All right, so now as you can see over here in this part of the result, we have banana added. This is amazing. Okay, and now I say that, okay, cool, so I'm done with my list, and now I want to go ahead and sort, right? Because I'm a freak that way. I like to sort my things in my cart. And so I just use the dot sort method, right? So let's just run this for the organized cart, right? So do you see the difference? first in cart underscore organized, we had the Dorito thing and then we had the banana thing. But because we do dot sort, it puts the banana thing first and the Dorito thing second because B comes before D, right? Okay, cool. This is exactly what I wanted, right? But now let's try to sort the unorganized list and see what happens. Hmm, weird, but not unexpected, right? It's saying type error. Less than sign not supported between instances of int and string. So, but hey, you know what, Python? I have ints and strings in this too. So, what the hell? Why are you doing this to me? Uh, the answer is one which requires a bit of thinking. So, let me just ask you guys to think over here for a bit, right? So, there are two questions you need to ask yourselves over here that why does Python fail to sort the unorganized cart? And but why does it successfully sort the organized cart, right? That should be a second question. That okay, if you're failing at this, but why are you succeeding at that, right? So think, just pause this video for like a minute or something and think about it, right? Like think about that if you as a human are asked to sort between people, right? So the one way to sort them is between using their height or their weight. But if I ask you to sort people, some fruits, some cars, and a building, right? Does it make sense to sort them first? Because they are of different. So think for 100 years and okay, let's get to it. So the answer to the first question that why does Python fail to sort the unorganized cart is because just read the error message, right? It's saying less than sign, which is a comparison operator, is not supported between int and string. This is Python basically telling you that hey, you were asking me to compare integers to strings and I don't know how to do that. And that makes sense, right? It's like comparing people. You can't sort people, cars, fruits, and a building because they are not of the same type. It doesn't make sense. And that's why Python is throwing you this error, right? Because in cart underscore unorganized, each element, the element at the 0th index is a string, the element at the 1th index is an int, the element at the 2th index is banana, and the element at index 3 is again an int. But so why does it? So next question is that why does Python successfully sort cart underscore organized? So if you look at cart underscore organized, right? Each element in cart underscore organized is first a list. So this is amazing, right? It's like if so each element inside the list is of the same type. So that is good news to Python. So Python says, you know what? Each element is of the same type. I will sort this out for you. And what it by default goes and does is it just picks out the first element of the list from both the sub lists, right? So this is a keyword which you need to know. If you have a list in a list, that's called a sublist, right? It picks out the first element and sorts based on that. And that's why this type of sorting doesn't fail. So I've written down the answers over here for all you guys to read through and just to have a note of it. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know and we'll get them sorted on Piazza. And oh yes, please use Piazza to sort out any questions. And yeah, I will see you guys on Monday.